Hello everyone and welcome back to the Nerd Den here once again, and in today's video we are going to be talking about the crazy plot of the reality war. I'm going to be doing obviously my usual recap, talking about the ending, which I feel like is really important this week, because the finale, obviously, they're always crazy, but yeah, this week's is, I don't know, it's a feature length finale. It was like 68 minutes long, so it's, longer than your usual Doctor Who episode. But it kind of grinded to a halt at one point. So I'm going to be explaining about it because there's a lot of reality bending stuff. So I'm going to be going through all of that stuff. But if you are new around here, please subscribe, because Doctor Who, whatever its future is going to be getting really crazy judging by that ending. So with all that being said, let's get into the video and let's talk about the future of Doctor Who and also the plot of the reality. So obviously it picks up right at the end of Wish World, where the Doctor and the Balcony are cut off from the Bone Palace and are dropped into the underverse where reality is collapsing, but the Doctor is saved by a time door opening, and it is Anita from the Time Hotel from Joy to the World, which was a lovely surprise. I was actually really excited to see Anita because I really enjoyed her character in Joy to the World, so it was really nice to see her back and catching up with the Doctor, that she's pregnant and that she's with someone and that, she's kind of fitted into the Time Hotel really well. And yeah, she's a lot happier than what we saw her in Joy to the World, which was absolutely fantastic. But the Doctor is quick thinking and he uses the Time Hotel to his advantage. And by using the Time Hotel, he is able to essentially kind of bring in real time into various parts of the world, starting with Belinda and Poppy, and then with Unit. So he re-establishes Unit in that reality and merges the two reality sorts together in a weird way. And that leads to the Rani finding out that the Doctor survived and that he is trying to stop her plans. And the Rani's plan is to use Omega to restore Gallifrey. Yeah, to bring back a new version of Gallifrey, not the old one, because obviously the old Gallifrey absolutely despised the Rani, and I think cast her out as well. But no, yeah, she wants to bring back the Time Lords as well. Now, Omega is trapped in the underverse, which we'll get onto in a second. Now, when the Rani catches on to the Doctor's plan, obviously she arrives at Unit, does a lot of exposition, explains what her plans are and stuff, and tries to get the Doctor on her side, and that doesn't work. So the Rani basically alerts the Bone Beast somehow to the Unit Tower being a threat, and the Bone Beast try and go over to the Unit Tower to try and stop it in its tracks, and to try and stop Unit from stopping the Rani, in that weird sense. And during all of that, Ruby uses the Project Indigo device from the Stolen Earth to get on board the Bone Palace to stop Conrad, and she is able to wish Conrad a happy life by the whole kissing the baby on the forehead and then blowing him a kiss, which was kind of similar to what the Rani did at the beginning of last week's episode, which, yeah, again, baffling. But whilst all that's going down, we've got the arrival of Omega. Now, yes, his physical form wasn't what we're used to. Obviously, in the classic series, he's looked a bit more badass. His costumes are, very, very sleek, very Time Lordy, and yeah, he looks kind of human, even though we'd never really see him out of the armor. But yeah, obviously that isn't the case here. He's a massive CGI monster with a big claw, and that is because of him being trapped in the underverse. He's basically become part of a myth or something, as the Doctor says, and that he's essentially become this massive creature, like a deadly sin, essentially. And he eats one of the Ranis. And Mrs. Flood is the survivor, so Archie Punjabi's Rani is the one that's eaten, and Mrs. Flood is like, yeah, no, see you later, goodbye, I don't want any part of this. So she literally scurries away, so there's a setup for her to return. But the Doctor uses the Time Vindicator that has been used throughout the season, because it's been built up to be really powerful, like something like 1,000 supernovas, and blasts Omega. Like, literally, it's that easy. Omega's stopped like that. Yeah, there's literally nothing else to explain with that. Omega stopped like that. And then everything's seemingly back to normal when Ruby wishes the reality to be restored. However, things go a little bit hectic when Poppy, the Doctor and Belinda's daughter, is led to not exist. Yeah, slowly fades out of existence. And Ruby's the only one that remembers that, which is interesting because Ruby seems to remember stuff that other people can't as well. So why is that? And when Ruby obviously brings up to the Doctor that this isn't the first time that there's only been one person in a reality that can remember someone who's no longer there, that causes the Doctor to go into the TARDIS and sacrifice himself in order to restore reality properly by forcing a regeneration onto the TARDIS rotor. But he gets some assistance and some guidance from Jodie Whittaker. Yes, the 13th Doctor shows up to give him some advice. The Doctor makes a cheeky remark saying, oh, it's always the other one. Obviously referring to David Tennant turning up. And yeah, he does exactly that. The 15th Doctor forces a regeneration to restore the timeline and to bring back Poppy. But because memories have been glitching throughout this era, obviously the stuff with Ruby's mother was changing from the 15th Doctor's perspective, and some memories that are later restored from the Doctor and Belinda's travels, it is revealed that the Doctor isn't Poppy's father, and it's another character that we haven't seen on screen, but that is the reason why Belinda wanted to get home. It wasn't just because of our stubbornness, it's because she's a mother, but because time was being messed with and realities were changing, obviously before the events of season 2, the Doctor didn't have any memory of that. So unfortunately for him, Poppy wasn't his daughter. And you can tell in that scene when he's trying to hold back his regeneration and he's meeting Belinda's mom and obviously meeting Poppy, and he wishes that he had a daughter like Poppy. And then the Doctor goes off into the sunset, and whilst there in the void of space, he sees Joy from Joy to the World. Obviously she's like a flashing star in the sky, and he regenerates into Billie Piper. Yes, I know, crazy stuff. So there are some things that obviously will need to be followed up, because the boss that was mentioned by Anita, who works for the Time Hotel, said hello to the Doctor through Anita. So we now know that the boss isn't the Rani, and must be someone who works for the Time Hotel. So I imagine that will be picked up in a third season. And we've now got a new Doctor, which is very interesting. And we don't know what happened to Ruby after the reality was fixed. And we'll just have to wait and see what happens with Unit as well. But we've got a new teaser for The War Between Land and Sea, which is going to be really exciting. So I'm going to be doing a trailer breakdown for that very shortly. But anyway, thank you so much for tuning into the video. If you are new around here, please click that like button and subscribe for more nerdy content. And I'll see you all next time. Goodbye for now.